Last year, my senior seminar, I was studying economics and then human rights and political science. And then this is a human rights course, right? And they were telling me, they're redefining the word human rights again. Human rights means free healthcare, free education. You're so entitled to everything, so everything should be free for you. And the people who are actually fighting for human rights, it's a different thing. But she asked me, she's saying there's no difference between men and women. And I said I can never be a man. Also by then I gave a birth, I was a mother. I know what my body can do and my guy's body cannot do. And she said, who told you that you cannot be a man? I said, I don't know. I said, okay, somebody brainwashed you. You are brainwashed. And they would just shut me down like that. So I learned, and then they said, Colombia is a safe space. It's not about physical safety, it's emotional safety. And before the classes, professor sent these trigger warning emails. Don't come to class and don't do the reading. And if it triggers you in any way, don't even tell me why. So you don't need to go to class, you need to do the reading. Then why on earth are you in college?
To get that fake degree.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's our fake degree now.
It's extraordinary. It's extraordinary. It's been bad for a long time, but it's obviously gotten so bad that to hear you say these things. So that's a main reason that you wrote the new book, While Time Remains, with a foreword by Jordan Peterson, because you're convinced that similar things that you experienced in this nation, a brainwashed cult in North Korea, have come here. Mm-hmm. And you're speaking about it.
Yeah, I think the reason I wrote my book was living through pandemic especially. Until then, my agent was protecting me, Let's still try to reach out the liberals, They were like, I'm sure they're gonna do something about China. I met Jeff Bezos. I flew in the same private jet with Harvey Weinstein right before the Me Too. And talking to these people, they say they care about Black Lives Matter. They care about the racism and they want to end the slavery. I talk to them in person. They say, I'm sorry what you went through, but don't even tell people that you know me. They say that's how cowardly these American elites are. And then living through the pandemic, I was living in Chicago. My son, who was 2, learning to walk even, they would put him in the mask up here 8 hours a day. They are opening a strip clubs next door. And then I go to a park, they open the dog parks. But as a child mother, I cannot take him to the playground. Actually, animals have more rights during the pandemic than my son had, my child had. And then one day I got robbed in Chicago in the middle of the day.
This is, you have to tell this story because this is unbelievable. So you were briefly living in Chicago.
For 2 years, yeah.
You have your son with you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was walking in the Michigan Avenue in the afternoon. During the day, some few black women come, pushing me and punching me and took my wallet away. But that's okay. Anybody. The people raped me were Asians. It's not about race thing here, right? Anybody can be anything. It's not a race. They just happen to be a black woman. It's fine. But what happened was that the crowd, what people did on the street that day, I pulled my phone out trying to call the police for help. I was a young mother being punched by these people in front of my son. These people circled me, people on the street, saying the person color don't make them a thief. You're racist. Why are you doing this? Why are you trying to call the cop? So
why you were calling the cop on the women who did this?
Punching me and taking my wallet away.
Chicagoans came to you and said, you are a racist for making this phone call.
And then they almost a circle, so I couldn't do anything, and then they let them run away from me. And that's when I was in something like the madness of crowd. It was not just Colombia gone crazy. This country collectively gone crazy now. Even North Korea is not this is crazy. China even is not crazy. They're a bad, horrible regime. But common sense is still there. You help out the victim, not the criminal. It's in North Korea, like how America works right now, is people divided based on their skin color. They call my son, who is half North Korean, half American, he's half white, a privileged child because he's half white. And because your skin color, and it's like, who chooses their ancestors? Like, you cannot punish people for something they did not choose. That's why racism is bad, right? You punish for something like skin color. And now we are doing that racism against white people. And they told me that I cannot possibly understand oppression because I'm a white passing person. So that is...
A white passing person?
So now they say Asians are whites. There's no difference between Asian and whites. And I completely eliminated from that topic. So I was thinking, like in North Korea, we were divided based on what our ancestors did. Like if my great-grandfather was a capitalist and landowner, they say your blood is tainted. Your genetics is oppressive. And now they say whites, being white, you're oppressive to other people. And exact same tactic and the obsession on what we can say, what we cannot say, like North Korea. In North Korea, we get executed. In America, if you say the wrong thing, you lose your job, you lose your character and dignity. Your livelihood is ruined. So of course we are not North Korea, but we are getting there. So at some point we need to turn back.
Well, you continue to speak out, and that's why I was so thrilled to have you, to read your books, to have you as our guest here, because you give other people hope, because you will not be quiet. You continue to speak, and listen, as bad as Columbia is, as bad as downtown Chicago is, most of America is not that crazy. And there are many, many people around the world, and certainly around this country, that are grateful for voices that are speaking the truth, because they understand that a man can't become a woman, and men cannot give birth.
Right.
And they understand these things. And we're living in a time when simply declaring them is suddenly considered a brave act, which of course is ridiculous. But you do seem still to have hope, otherwise you wouldn't be talking about these things. Why do you have hope? Why do you talk about these things?
So when I was escaping from North Korea, at least it was, I had a place to escape to, America, right? I think it's harder for Americans to imagine this. Just imagine the world without America. It's a dark place. This country is a hope for humanity. It's not because I'm American saying this, as an outsider coming from that country, those countries. The world will look up to America, not because this country is just wealthy and like that. The value this country stands for, this dedication to protect individual dignity and freedom. That's very rare, because we're the smallest minority that is individual. And there are so many countries dedicated to protect just the collective, and you don't matter if you're an individual. When North Korea came out, attacked me, they said she was individualistic when she was a kid. For North Korea, that is the worst criticism you can give to somebody. That's how being individualistic is the worst thing. And this country made a constitution out of that to protect individual liberty. So, I mean, like, if we lose America, where do we go? Are we going to escape to North Korea? Are we escaping to the moon? I mean, that's the kind of the only option right now. So I think that's why we have to protect this country. I have no option other than fighting for it. And I'm not going to run this time. Like when I was reading Animal Farm, until that point, I hated the dictator. I was thinking how horrible these evil guys are enslaving people, doing this to these people. But then when you read the book, it's a process. Like when I was born in North Korea, I did not even know that I was oppressed. Like, how do you fight to be free if you don't know you're a slave? And North Korea came that to a point, so when it came to me, I could not even fight because I did not even know that was an option. My grandmother knew though. They knew the time before Kim Il-sung. They knew the time before Communist Revolution. Because they wanted, they were scared, they didn't speak out. We came that far. So while we know this is wrong, I think this is a time to push back.
Yeah.